Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Real Bible Study. For those who don't know me, my name is Danielle, and I'm the Bible Study Facilitator. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to keep it real with you guys tonight. So before, just like we always start, let's open up with our prayers. Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. Lord, open our eyes
Lord, open our
Lord,
eyes
open our eyes
so we can see something we've never saw before.
so
so
we
we
can
can
see
see
something we've
stuff
never
that we
saw
never seen
before.
before.
Open our ears
Open our
Open our
ears
ears
so we can hear something we've never heard before.
so we can
so
hear
we can
something
hear
we've
something
never
we
heard
never heard
before.
before.
And open our hearts
And
and
open
open
And
our
our
open
hearts
our hearts
so we can receive something we've never received before.
so we
so
can
we can
receive
receive
something we've
something
never
we've never
received
received
before.
before.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. So I'm so excited about Bible study tonight, ladies. So this week, if everybody have their Bibles, let's turn into Genesis 18. Okay. Genesis 18. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it goes. The Lord appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day. He looked up and he saw three men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to meet them, bowed to the ground, and said, "My Lord, if I have found favor with you, please do not go on past your servant. Let a little water be brought. Then you may wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. I will bring a bit of bread so that you may strengthen yourselves. This is why you have passed your servant's way. Later, you can continue on." "Yes," they replied, "do as you have said." So Abraham hurried into the tent and said to Sarah, "Quick, knead 3 measures of fine flour and make bread." Abraham ran to the herd and got a tender choice calf. He gave it to a young man who hurried to prepare it. Then Abraham took curds and milk as well as the calf that he had prepared and set them before the man. He served them as they ate under the tree. "Where's your wife Sarah?" they asked him. "There in the tent," he answered. "The Lord said, I will certainly come back to you in about a year's time, and your wife Sarah will have a son." Now Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent behind him. Abraham and Sarah were old and getting on in years. Sarah had passed the age of childbearing, so she laughed to herself. "After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I have delight?" But the Lord asked Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, can I really have a baby when I'm old? Is anything impossible for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will come back to you, and in about a year, she will have a son." Sarah denied it. "I did not laugh," she said, because she was afraid. But he replied, "No, you did laugh." The men got up from there and looked out over Sodom, and Abraham was walking with them to see them off. Then the Lord said, "Should I hide what I am about to do from Abraham? Abraham is to become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him so that he will command his children and his house after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. This is how the Lord will fulfill to Abraham what he promised him." Then the Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is immense, and their sin is extremely serious. I will go down to see if what they have done justifies the cry that has come up to me. If not, I will find out." The men turned from him, and they went toward Sodom, while Abraham remained standing with the Lord before the Lord. Abraham stepped forward and said, "Will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away instead of sparing the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people who are in it? You could not possibly do such a thing to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. You could not possibly do that. Won't the judge of the whole earth do what is just?" The Lord said, "If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake." Then Abraham answered, "Since I have ventured to speak to my Lord, even though I am dust and ashes, suppose the 50 righteous lack 5. Will you destroy the whole city for lack of 5?" He replied, "I will not destroy it if I find 45 there." Then he spoke to him again. Suppose 40 are found there. He answered, I will not do it on an account of 40. Then he said, let my Lord not be angry, and I will speak further. Suppose 30 are found there. He answered, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Then he said, since I have ventured to speak to my Lord, suppose 20 are found there. He replied, I will not destroy it on an account of 20. Then he said, let my Lord not be angry, and I will speak one more time. Suppose 10 are found there. He answered, I will not destroy it on account of 10. When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he departed, and Abraham returned to his place. Okay, so if I had to put a title to this, I'm gonna title it Who Me? It couldn't be. Who Me? It couldn't be. I received a letter in the mail on Monday with the best news that I had in a long time. All of my student loans had been forgiven. Yes, I applied for the program, but honestly, I didn't think it would happen. I had heard of other people getting their loans forgiven, but I still didn't think this was possible for me because I felt I didn't meet the criteria for the program. The crazy thing is, I had the letter in my hand and it was in writing, and it said, congratulations. We determined that you have successfully met the requirements of the program. Your loans have been forgiven. Y'all, I started dancing, singing, praising God, running all around. Even my dog, Allie, was barking and jumping up and down with me. I called everybody I could, sent out messages and said, what a mighty God we serve. Y'all not going to believe this. Not even after that, I done told everybody, all my friends, I still was questioning because this really couldn't be happening to me. I mean, who, me? It be. Y'all, I pulled up my credit report and oh my God, I couldn't believe it. The loans were gone. Question. Have you ever felt like that? That you got something you didn't deserve and then asked yourself, who, me? It couldn't be. Anybody besides me?
Oh, are we talking about good things or bad
Yes,
things?
good things. Good things. Anybody thought about a thing? And even if let's spin it, even if it isn't good. Did you ever anybody have anything bad happen that could say, who, me? It couldn't be?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Who, me? All right. Who, me? It couldn't be. All right. That's just what happened in Genesis 18. So if you had to guess, who was asking in the very beginning, who, me? It couldn't be.
Sarah.
Yeah, the wife. Mhm.
Before Sarah.
Abraham.
Abraham. Absolutely. Abraham was sitting by the entrance of his tent, and when he saw them, he ran out. I'm saying he asked, who, me? It couldn't be, because he couldn't believe that these three men graced him with his presence. What did he do next?
He bowed.
He bowed. Mm-hmm. What else?
He offered them to come inside,
He
and
offered
they
them to come
started
inside. Yep. Mm-hmm. No,
telling the
so
different servants to prepare different things.
so he offered them, he wanted them to stay and not leave. So he offered them food and drink and a place to rest. I can't imagine how Abraham felt when he saw them. I can't believe they chose my land to stop by and rest. I'm so honored. Now, I do want us to pay attention to, before we get to 19, what's the difference between 18 and 19? And we're going to discuss that because Renee brought up a good point, and we are going to cover something that she said in 19 that really didn't happen in 18. So who is the next person to ask, who, me? It couldn't be, and why? Let's put a pin back on them and
Sarah.
how they fit. Sarah, absolutely, Miss Maria. Sarah, because she laughed when she heard the Lord say, next year when I come back, certainly your wife Sarah will have a son. She said, now that I'm old and I'm past childbearing age, now you're saying I will have a son. So she was in disbelief. It's like she was putting her hand to her chest and was like, who, me? It couldn't be. So before we get to verse 16, so anything between verses 1 and 16 stuck out to anybody that we want to discuss before we move on? On the in the reading. Even about Sarah and her disbelief and her old age, anything? No? Okay. When I looked at that letter that came, I know the Lord was saying to me, why not you? Just like he asked Abraham, why did she laugh? You know, sometimes we laugh at situations instead of crying, or maybe we have cried so much that all we could do now is laugh. Can anybody relate with Sarah at that moment when she said she cried? I mean, she laughed, because sometimes you cried all you can cry, so all you can do now is laugh. Because she had been promised for so many years that she would have a son. You know, we've gone over chapter after chapter, and she still, you know, even set her slave up to give her a son, but she never had a son of her own. So I can't imagine how many tears that she cried just over just that point of her life. And so now she's saying, I didn't cry all I can cry. So, I mean, all I'm gonna do now is laugh. Can anybody else relate to have cried all you could cry? So now you gotta laugh at situations?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I said, what I found funny was that she denied and said, no, I didn't laugh. At this point, she said she had to know that God knows all, but she still denied it because she was afraid. What do you think she was afraid of?
That he heard her and that she didn't trust him and
Mm-hmm.
that she didn't have faith.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like that. I agree with that. Anybody else?
I think she was nervous about the reality that was going to happen. Like as she said, like I've been asking for this for so long. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
really going to get it. Like really, like it was a shock to her.
Anybody else?
Just the fact that she was so old and she like,
Mhm.
now I have to raise this baby in my old age.
Yeah, I like that too. Also, I thought that she denied that she laughed, and she was afraid because maybe she was afraid that she wouldn't have the son. Maybe she was afraid that now he tired of me doubting him, so he won't give me what my heart truly desires. Could anybody see that happening? Like she was finally like, okay, he heard me laugh. Oh God, I gotta say I didn't laugh, because now if he do know that I laughed, maybe I won't get what he promised me. Anybody else see that?
Yeah, I saw
Okay.
that.
Okay. Thank you. So as we continue in 18, who is the next people to get the question of who, me? It couldn't be. Let's go down to like 16. Anybody want to read it? So it says, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. God heard the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah, and he knew their sin was extremely serious, and he was going to check it out and see if what he heard was true. And I said, I love this, because God wasn't just going to take anybody else's word for it. He went to see about it for himself. Did y'all see that? Did y'all catch that in the word?
Yes.
Yep. In verse 21, he said, I will go down to see if what they have done justifies the cry that has come up to me. And if not, I will find out. So who do you think was crying out to God, telling him, about everything that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah?
Abraham.
Could be Abraham. Anybody else thinks? Anybody else? So I said the righteous, the righteous people who lived in Sodom and Gomorrah, they were the ones who was crying out to the Lord, asking God to do something about these people. Like, you're gonna have to do something about this, Lord. I'm tired of living amongst this. So I said the righteous, Abraham asked God, will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Since God is a righteous judge, is it right that the innocent might be punished in the same way as the guilty? Do you think he said, I might have to sacrifice a few for the many? Or do you think he really felt like nobody, to some extent, everybody in Sodom and Gomorrah was corrupt in one way or another?
You said God think that, or did Abram think that?
Did God think that? Because remember, Abraham asked God, will you punish the innocent with the wicked?
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, do you think, is it right that the innocent might be punished in the same way as the guilty?
No.
No. And so, but they be like, you sacrifice the little for the many. And so I guess this city was in such great sin, and God knows all, that he didn't feel that it was any that wasn't sinful. Because I think to one extent or another, as we read on in the story, all of them had some sin with them. Not that we all don't, but all of them in one way had some sin with them. And sometimes people feel like some sins are worse than other sins, even though a sin is a sin. That's what I was thinking was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, my sin could be lying, and your sin could be stealing. And so you think because you stole, your sin, or I think because you stole, your sin is worse than mine, but it's all a sin. So I said, Abraham went to the Lord on the righteous behalf, and he asked the Lord if there were any righteous people, would he leave them? He bargained with the Lord from 50 righteous all the way down to 10. And he said, I would not destroy it if he could find 10 righteous people in Sodom. So before we go on to 19, is it anything, because see, 19 is where all the everything is in. Is there anything in 18 that anybody want to discuss before we move on to 19?
I noticed. I'm sorry if y'all hear background. I'm out in the nail shop, but I don't know what particular verse because I don't have my Bible in front of me. But I do know that he spoke of blessing Abraham and his offsprings again. If here it is in another chapter. He said it again that he was going to be blessed, and it was going to be through Abraham again.
Yep. Verse 18, Abraham is to become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him, so that he will command his children and his house after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. So yes, once you keep hearing something over and over and over again, I guess you have to keep hearing it so that Abraham would know that, yes, it can be. Is it anything, any other verses before we move on to 19 that anybody want to discuss? Okay, let's move on to 19. So the two angels entered Sodom in the evening as Lot was sitting in Sodom's gateway. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them. He bowed with his face to the ground and said, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house, wash your feet and spend the night. Then you can get up early and go on your way. No, they said, we would rather spend the night in the square. But he urged them so strongly that they followed him and went into his house. He prepared a feast and baked unleavened bread for them, and they ate. Before they went to bed, the men of the city of Sodom, both young and old, the whole population, surrounded the house. They called out to Lot and said, where are the men who came to you tonight? Send them out to us so we can have sex with them. Lot went out to them at the entrance and shut the door behind him. He said, "Don't do this evil, my brothers. Look, I've got 2 daughters who haven't been intimate with a man. I'll bring them out to you and you can do whatever you want to them. However, don't do anything to these men because they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of the way," they said, and "this one came here as an alien, but he's acting like a judge. Now we'll do more harm to you than to them." They put pressure on Lot and came up to break down the door, but the angels reached out, brought Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the entrance of the house, both young and old, with blindness, so that they were unable to find the entrance. Then the angel said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here, a son-in-law, your sons and daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of this place, for we are about to destroy this place because the outcry against this people is so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-laws who were going to marry his daughters. "Get up," he said, "get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city." But his sons-in-laws thought he was joking. At daybreak, the angels urged Lot on, "Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, and you will be swept away in the punishment, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But he hesitated because of the Lord's compassion for him. The men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters. They brought him out and left him outside the city. As soon as the angels got them outside, one of them said, "Run for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop anywhere on the plain. Run to the mountains or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please. Your servant has indeed found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness by saving my life. But I can't run to the mountains. The disaster will overtake me and I will die. Look, this town is close enough for me to flee to. It is a small place. Please let me run to it. It's only a small place, isn't it? So that I can survive." And he said to him, "All right, I'll grant your request about this matter too, and will not demolish the town you mentioned. Hurry up, run to it, for I cannot do anything until you get there." Therefore, the name of the city is Zoar. The sun has risen over the land when Lot reached Zoar, and out of the sky, the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah, burning sulfur from the Lord. He demolished these cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and whatever grew on the ground. But Lot's wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Early in the morning, Abraham went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of the plain, and he saw the smoke was going up from the land like the smoke of a furnace. So it was when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and brought Lot out of the middle of the upheaval when he demolished the cities where Lot had lived. So Lot departed from Zoar and lived in the mountains, along with his 2 daughters, because he was afraid to live in Zoar. Instead, he and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. Then the firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man in the land to sleep with us, as is the custom of all the land. Come, let's get our father to drink wine, so that we may sleep with him and preserve our father's line." So they got their father to drink wine that night, and the firstborn came and slept with her father. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. The next day, the firstborn said to the younger, "Look, I slept with my father last night. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight, so you can go sleep with him, and we can preserve our father's line." That night, they again got their father to drink wine, and the younger went and slept with him. He did not know when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The firstborn gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Ammonites of today.
Mm-mm.
This is too much.
It's too much. So okay. So
It's
let's
a-
look at 19 and see if the Lord could find any righteous people. Who is the next person that says, "Who me?" It couldn't be.
Lot.
Lot. Now let's look at the difference. Here you go, Renee. Let's look at the difference between Abraham, Lot, and their encounters when they got chosen, right? So they both bowed. Abraham didn't have to beg the angels to stay with him and eat and rest, but Lot did. Why? Why do you think that? So remember in 18, the angels came to the tree where Abraham was. He brought the food to them outside. They sat at the tree and ate. He had to beg them to eat. When he get to Lot bowed. He gave them reverence. But when he started suggesting, hey, come to my house, stay in my house, and so y'all can rest. And can you imagine somebody said they'd rather sleep outside than sleep in your house? Because that's what they said. They said we'd rather sleep in the square. Right there. Verse number, what's that? That was number 2. He said no, they said we would rather spend the night in the square. Can you imagine you offer your home to somebody and they said they'd rather sleep outside? What did that say about your house?
I never knew the Bible would get this messy this early. But that's all I would say. But yeah, I think with Lot, he kind of knew that he didn't have as much favor as Abram. Kind of had to like plea himself onto people, or kind of, you know how somebody got to kind of be more nicer so that you can kind of be like, okay, we'll give him a shot. I think he knew that he didn't have that kind of leeway with God and his people like Abram did.
Okay. Who else?
Abraham was the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
And Lot was, by Lot being in Sodom and Gomorrah in that town, they just didn't, he just wasn't the one, because they didn't know if he was living amongst them or being one of them or not.
Absolutely.
So that's why they didn't want to go into his home, because they didn't know if his home was like, the town.
If it was clean, clean, if they had good food in there, like what if you was giving me bad food? I heard about you, Lot, so I don't know if I want to stay in your house.
Right.
Right.
I know. I was at the spades tournament when we had the spades tournament a couple weeks ago, so I know how you get down over here. So yeah, I don't know if I want to come and stay the night at your house. Anybody else? Anybody else want to say anything about them wanting to rather stay outside than sleep in Lot house? So I did say that the angels also knew that his house was full of sin. So that's why they was like, yeah, no, I'm not ready coming here. I'm not ready coming here. No. So if you had to guess, who is the next to say who me? It couldn't be. In chapter 19. Because just like Ashley said in 18, when you asking yourself who me, it couldn't be. It don't always have to be being chosen for good. It could be that you could have been chosen and something bad happens to you. So if you read along in the story, who do you think is the next people that's starting to question, who, me?
His
it couldn't
daughter?
be. Not chat. Not somebody before the daughters.
The son-in-laws?
We're going to talk about them too, but nope, not them, but for them.
Only person I can think of is like Lot again, because he lost his wife.
Not Lot. Now Lot is going to question again, but not just yet. Okay. So I said the next person or the next people were the angels. Because these people came knocking on the door and they wanted these men. So I know these men probably was in Lot's house like, I knew I shouldn't have stayed here. And I know they probably was thinking, who, me? It couldn't be. He knocking on this door for me. So I said, here these men came to see about this place. And unfortunately, everything that the Lord heard about this place was right. So that was the angels was being at the questioning and saying, who, me? It couldn't be. So now after them, who is next to ask the question? Who, me? It couldn't be. Shantanese, you gave that answer.
Oh, his daughters.
His daughters. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you imagine? Let me tell y'all, I got that highlighted in my Bible. I need to highlight it and I need to star it. And I need to, if I could bold it, I would. Let's look at this.
Disturb me.
Let's look at this. Is disturbing. Look at this.
Yes.
He said, look, I got 2 daughters who haven't been intimate with a man. I'll bring them out to you and you could do whatever you want to them. However, don't do anything to these men because they have came under the protection of my roof. His daughter's not protected under his roof. Did y'all see that?
All
He
that
showed they have no
Yes.
words.
he rather
Right.
give up his children than let the men have their way, which was still equally as nasty.
But this is
Put his
disturbing.
turn around and
Right.
Yes.
I'm disturbed.
Mhm.
This
Yes.
right here. He said, because they have come under the protection of my roof. But your daughters should be under the
But the-
protection of
right.
your roof.
Yeah.
Right.
You
You
gonna
just
give them,
just giving them away.
giving them
giving
away
them
like they
away.
nothing. And
Nothing.
then not only did you give them away like they was nothing, but then you said, and you could do whatever you want to do to them.
One with
He just make me every time agree with the people that say they want to sleep in the box because I would have slept in the box.
You wanted to sleep outside instead of sleeping in our house. Yeah.
I would sleep outside.
He
Yes.
said, I'll give them to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even gotta come in here to get them because he said, I'll bring them out to you. Can you imagine his daughters?
I just feel like it's just a pattern in the Bible, period, of women being used and mistreated and just looked in less than. That's not the first time women have been treated like that or even displayed like that in the Bible. I mean, it's nasty. And it's not even really shocking because we saw this before. Just look with Hagar sleep. Well, I mean, yeah, it wasn't his daughter, but the wife gave her the daggone servant.
But I mean, do you think? I mean, it became such a custom, right? So it's like, do you think he did anything wrong? Here he's in this sin-filled city of Sodom and Gomorrah, where all these bad things have happened, and and during my studies, some people were saying that it was so much sin that it was bound to come to his door. So even before he, because he was kidnapped, they went and got him, brought him back here.
Lot was sinning before this.
Absolutely. But
wasn't he kind of like, no, he was the nephew of Abraham.
He the nephew of Abraham. Nephew. But don't you see how when they went, Abraham went back and got him because he was kidnapped. And he still didn't want to leave this place.
You know what I mean? He just can't get right.
He can't get right.
He just can't get right.
He just can't get right. And
then what's crazy is now it's starting to like really rub off on everyone around him because wouldn't that right mind possess his daughters to say we're gonna see with our father?
Well, hey man, we gotta get to that, Shantanese. Let's all jump ahead. All right. So who is the next in this to ask who, me? It couldn't be. Courtney, you gave that answer. Lot's son-in-laws. So let's look at that. The son-in-laws. Because look, he said, so Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-laws who were going to marry his daughters. Get up, he said. Get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-laws thought he was joking. So I put Lot's sons-in-laws. I said, but they didn't even let him get to them to say, who, me? It couldn't be, because they couldn't believe Lot. They didn't even believe Lot, that he was even saying, I'm trying to save you. So they didn't even leave. And then I said, Lot himself didn't even want to leave. The angels had to grab him by his hand to make him
didn't
come.
want to leave either.
Don't get to her.
So wait a minute, where did he go wake the son-in-laws up from?
It says he went. They said the angel said to Lot, do you have anybody else here? He said, so Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-laws. It don't say where they were. They was outside somewhere.
Oh,
and they were
okay.
going to marry his daughters.
Okay.
So I said that they had to grab Lot by the hand and make him come. That shows us just how much God loves us. Because sometimes when we don't believe great things can happen, he grabs us by the hands and say, yes, you. So come on and get out of this place. Because sometimes even we don't want to go. Sometimes he tell us to go someplace and even we don't want to go. It could be out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what could be some other reasons why God has given us this, ordered our steps to go to this place and we just don't go?
Doubt.
Doubt. Mm-hmm.
Could it be because you connected to something bigger? Like Lot was connected to, he was related to Abraham. And we know Abraham was this great, what did they call him? The second
chosen
father?
one.
Or,
Mhm.
Yeah. So he was like the chosen one. So do you think that he kept saving Lot because of Abraham, because he was connected to him in some kind of way?
Probably. You know, people be like, you know, you get blessed because of your connections, right? So I think that God always showed that favor because of Abraham. And I think even when Abraham was pleading with God in the previous chapter, what about this? What if he knew his nephew and his family was there? So I think when he was like, would you even strike down the innocent, even with the wicked? Because in his mind, do you think he thought Lot was wicked?
No.
Because sometimes we don't be wanting to see it. We don't
I
want.
think probably thought that Lot was more so misguided. I don't think that he thought that he was fully wicked. He probably thought that he was misguided and maybe eventually he'll come around like he did.
Yeah, because that's what we all want for our family, right? To come around and be blessed and get everything that God wants for them. And so we pleading and we praying on their behalf to be great. And so I think Abraham, until he died, was going to always go to the Lord to petition for Lot, because I think even though Lot was his nephew, but I think he looked at Lot too, kind of sort of like a son. Because for so long, that was like the only son he had until, the other boys came. But I do believe that Lot was a disappointment. So I said, on their way out of the city, Lot is still negotiating because he still doesn't want to do what the angels are saying. So instead of going to the mountains, he asked if he can go to a little city named Zor. And Zor translates to mean, in case you guys want to write this down, small or insignificant. So look at that. I'm giving you the mountains. Go live in the mountains, but you want to choose a place that was small and insignificant. That says a lot about Lot. You ain't want the mountains, but you want something small. So the Lord did keep his promise to Abraham because he got Lot and his family out. And I put in parentheses with a question mark, the righteous, before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So I got this question that just came to me. Do you think we sometimes think people are righteous and then the Lord have to let us see it for ourselves that they're not?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so, because he pleading for Lot. Like, I mean, what if it's just 10, right? Because he probably thinking about how many people in Lot family. And the Lord saying, this man ain't righteous. Okay. But if you say he is, okay, I'm going to let you see it for yourself. That just really clicked. That sometimes God said, okay, you think he's righteous, but I'm going to let you, I don't know what you got to go through for you to see it, but I'm going to let you see it for yourself.
I think that happens more than we even think about. Because sometimes things like certain instances keep happening when you hanging with somebody, like bad things or things that you wouldn't normally have happen to you.
Yeah.
And then one day you just have like an epiphany and be like, I need to stop hanging with this person because all
Yeah.
this bad stuff happening. This must be a sign. So I think that's the same instance.
Yeah, because sometimes we just gotta it's like we gotta feel it. Not only do we, it's like we gotta hit every sense. We gotta
Right.
see it, we
You
gotta
wanna-
smell it, we gotta feel it, we gotta hear it, it's like every part of us gotta go through it before we finally say, you know what? Let me leave this person alone.
Right.
That's definitely a good point. So as we reading, who is the next person to ask? Who, me? It couldn't be.
Is it Sarah again?
No, because Sarah not in this chapter. I
Lot's-
think Lot's
was-
wife. Yes, Lot's wife,
That's,
Miss Maria.
yeah, that's what I meant. I called her Sarah. Sorry.
Hey, Lot's wife.
What's Lot's wife's name?
She don't have a name.
Okay.
So she's just known as Lot's wife. And even when they mention her further down in the Bible again, all you gonna know is them
Miss
knowing her
Lot.
as Lot's wife.
Miss
Mhm.
Lot.
Okay.
So what you say, shit to me?
I said I'm gonna call her Miss Lot.
Miss Lot. Okay. So Miss Lot, she didn't even understand the importance of being chosen to leave. And she didn't just want to leave, even when she was told to leave. And they told her not to look back, but she did just that. How many of us can relate? We so scared to go forward that we keep looking back.
Backsliding. Yep.
Mhm.
Gotta learn the hard way.
Gotta learn the hard way. You know, you sit there and be like, you know what, God, if you just give me one more chance to get out of this, I promise you I won't do it again. As soon as we get out of it, we go right back.
That's like when you have a hangover.
Yes. Soon as I get up off this floor, Lord, I
You be
promise
like,
you I
God,
ain't
for
going to
real,
drink.
I'm not gonna do it again this
I'm not
time.
gonna do it again this time. Lord, I promise you, Lord. Once I get out this bed, Lord, I ain't gonna get back in this bed again. I promise you. I'm gonna leave this person alone. And next thing you know, you get that phone call or you get that text and be like, all right, Lord, I know what I said, but I mean, I'm just saying, if you could just do it for me that one time, you could do it for me again. Yes. So then it said, now instead of being happy in Zor in the small place of insignificance, isn't it funny that they go to the mountains anyway, to the very place they didn't want to go? So now he's sitting in a place of being small and insignificant and saying, you know what, I don't want to be here nowhere because for some reason, Lot just can't rest. He got to keep moving. Who is the next person that asks? Who, me? It couldn't be.
His daughters.
Lot's daughters. Yes. So I said, they really got their father drunk and slept with him and got pregnant and had Moab, the father of the Moabites, and Ben-Ami, the father of the Ammon people. And so as we read on, we're going to see all of the bad things that happen, all the bad things that happen because of this. And it has to be because of the sin that these people become the people that they're going to become, right? So whatever, before I tie it all together, what other parts did you guys learn? What other parts did you like not like, but that you want to discuss in 19? Because this was a meaty chapter.
I'm still shocked by the incest.
Yeah. The incest, just the giving up of your daughters, and not even, you want to protect strangers, but didn't even want to protect you didn't even want to protect your own children.
Did you ever think that maybe he was lying about his children never being with someone? That's why he was so easy to give them up.
No.
And why they turn around and was easily to sleep with their father.
Nope. I think they were virgins because his son-in-laws, they said he was going to give them to the son-in-laws to marry. I think they were virgins. And I think that was going to be what was going to entice the men. Think about how men always say they want to be with virgins.
That's a good point.
But people lie too.
Yeah,
but you just lie. People out here lie about their virginity.
Yeah, but back then they could, they did the white sheet test and all that. But I think they were virgins. I think he just was going to get them to him. And even if they wasn't virgins, you still gonna give your children? You ain't even ask them. Here we go again with another man making decisions for a woman. She don't have no voice. Anything else in the chapter before I tie it all together? You know, it's a lot of disbelief. This whole city is full of sin. You can't believe nothing that it's sad that you can't even believe nothing that nobody say, because the city just full of sin. So even when Lot came out to try to spare his son and his future son-in-laws, they ain't even believe him. So you know what that said to me? Lot was a liar.
Oh.
Because if you knew that I was a truthful person, right? And I'm coming to you and telling you that this thing is about to happen, and you saying you want to laugh at me, so it's obvious that you don't believe me. So it must be because I've told you something before in the past, and you realizing that I'm not truthful. Anything else stuck out to y'all before I tie it all together?
You know, the fact that Lot was like extremely flawed. He was a flawed person, and you know, God just kept showing him grace.
Yes, but
That
that's
definitely
us,
stuck
though.
out to me.
Yeah, that's us though, because we flawed, and he keeps showing us grace because he gonna keep coming after us and keep coming after us and keep picking us up and out of our dirt and out of our destruction to try to save us, because that's just who God is. And so he not only tried to save Lot, but he tried to save his family. And then Lot's wife only had one thing to do, not look back. And so then it's like she ain't respect her husband either. Because what did she do? She looked back. Anything else? Anything else about Sodom and Gomorrah that we want to talk about? Okay. All right. Well, let's see how we're gonna tie this together this week. All right. So in this song, who do you think is the highest of the high? And you don't have to wonder.
Maxwell.
Who?
Maxwell.
No, but who is he singing about?
Thank
you. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you. That's how I tied it together. Shanties, it's okay. It's okay.
I was too busy jamming. Sorry.
I know that, and that was our tie-in for the week. And so when you don't have to wonder whether it's you, because yes, you, and it could be you for some bad things, and it could be you for some good things, because we all using the good and the bad to make us into who we are today. So before we end, what did we learn?
Well, I learned you never know when you entertaining angels.
My God. Let me write that down. Let me write that down, Ashley. Child. Yeah.
And you know what's a good statement to go with that? Real eyes, real lies, real lies.
Real eyes. Real lies. Real lies. My God. I like it. And then you never know when you're entertaining angels. Anybody else?
This more like a question. Was this the first time like same sex was mentioned in the Bible?
I think so, because I don't remember in none of our reading that we had thus far anything about the sin and all of that in the Bible. So of homosexuality. So I would say that was why one of the things why they was getting rid of Sodom and Gomorrah, among other things. Anybody else learned anything? I learned that Lot had to be a liar. Amongst everything else that he was, I learned that Lot had to be a liar. And what else did you learn, Sherry?
Oh no, I was just getting that God is just so great, because through all this craziness, he still accepted them and they still were blessed. That's just crazy how they were.
Yeah. And anybody else learned anything that they didn't know anything about out of chapters 18 and 19?
I missed half of it, but I feel like it was a reminder, not so much of a learning lesson, but a reminder that sometimes you got to keep looking forward, because turning back is just going to mess you up.
Yep. Yep. Keep your eyes forward. Don't look back. Anybody else learn anything they want to share about Abraham and Lot and Sarah and her disbelief and Lot's wife, the daughters, the angels, the Lord?
About Sodom and Gomorrah, period. Because I've always used to hear old folks say about like, oh, that's Sodom and Gomorrah. Like they would just say it, but I never knew the kind of relevance behind it. So just finding out the whole story was really like eye-opening, because I thought it was a person at first, to be honest, or people.
Okay.
So I learned
instead of a place, you thought that Sodom and Gomorrah were a person, were people.
right.
Okay.
Know,
Okay.
like, what the story was about.
And I also learned, kind of piggying back on what Sherry said, that you can still be chosen even when you're flawed, right? You can still be chosen even when you don't meet the criteria. That was the whole part of some of the parts of, yet who me, it couldn't be, because I didn't think I met the criteria to get my loans forgiven. Sarah didn't think she met the criteria to have a baby of her own. Abraham didn't think that he met the criteria to even be in the presence of the angels and the Lord. We know Lot didn't meet the criteria, but he didn't think he met the criteria for even having somebody in his house. He don't even know what it means to be a protector. But so he sure didn't meet any criteria, but he was still chosen. The sons-in-laws were chosen, and they weren't believers. So it was a lot of times. So it made me think that, you know what, he will still choose you, even with your flaws, and even if you don't believe. So before we end, is there anything else anybody want to share?
I just got another question.
Mm-hmm.
So so I know in the beginning of the Bible, it also, especially with Adam and Eve, was some type of incest in that as well. So was that incest wiped away with Noah when they flooded the land?
Well, what incest was in Adam and Eve?
It was just Adam and Eve, and they had the kids, but then their kids somehow.
Because they kept reproducing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess as the line kept going down, I guess they got rid of it somehow with Noah. But if you get rid of all the people, you got to bring them back somehow.
Right.
So
you think that incest was wiped away with the flood? Adam and Eve incest?
Well, no, because I don't know. I don't know. I can look it up, and when I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
And see. Well, I'll find that answer out for you. Anybody else want to have anything that they want to add? Okay. Well, you know what, ladies, I always enjoy Bible study. I can't wait till next week. I love keeping it real with everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope that you know that who me, it couldn't be, it can be you. Till next week, ladies. Bye.
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 Bye.